Hi everybody, welcome to Wednesday's maths lesson. I do apologise for the green background. I've been doing some singing assemblies via Zoom to the classes here, and I've been putting virtual backgrounds in, so I just needed a green screen, so just ignore the green background, slightly bizarre. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you and go through today's lesson. 6 questions for our starter. So number 1, we're finding 95% of a number. So we're finding part of 480. Just before you have a go, just to remind you that the best way of finding something like 95% is to find 5% and take it away from the whole amount. So if I just draw that as a bar model, sorry, it's not very accurate, but you can know what I'm talking about. 480 is our whole amount, and we want to get rid of 5%, because if we take away 5%, we'll be left with 95%, because the whole thing is 100%. So to find 5%, you need to find 10% and halve it. Number 2 is a whole number times a mixed number. Do you remember we can do 13 lots of 2, or 2 lots of 13, and a half of 13, and add them together to find that answer. Number 3, you need to give them the same denominator before you can add them together. Number 4, same as number 3, but you also need to change this into an improper fraction before you do it. Number 15, you're going to need to use BIDMAS, and number 16 is long multiplication. So you're going to need to pause this now, put your timer on, or just do the questions that you can in however long you can. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute and then I'll go through the answers. Okay, so number 1, when you found, so 10% is 48, half of 48 is 24. So 5% is 24, and if you take that off, you get 456. Number 2, 2 lots of 13 is 26. Yeah, I can fit that up there. Half of 13 is 6.5. So if I add 26 and 6.5 together, I get 32.5. You could also have had 32.5. You could also have had 65 over 2, 65 halves, if that's the answer that you got. Okay, number 3, if you give them both the denominator as 10, you get 4/10 here. So you will end up with 11/10, and some of you may have changed that into a mixed number, 1 and a 10. Number 4, 3 1/2 is 7 halves, isn't it? So it's 7 halves, subtract 7/8. Okay, we need to give 7 halves the denominator 8. I'm going to multiply it all by 4, and I'm going to have 28/8. Subtract 7/8. Sorry, that should be a subtract there. Subtract 7/8 leaves you with 21/8. And if you wanted to change that into a mixed number, it would be 2 5/8. Remember, you don't have to do that part. This part here is the correct answer. Okay, number 15, you needed to do the multiplication first. So 3 times 4 is 12. 19 take away 12 leaves you with 7. And number 6, if you did a long multiplication, you should have got the answer 146,227. Okay, we're going to continue with inverse today. We've got a couple of different styles of question for you to have a go at today. The first ones look like this. So it's a few different rules, and you have to follow the rules to find the numbers in the box. They're quite fun, little number puzzles. I'm going to go through this one with you first. So let's read the rules. The number in A is half the number in D. The number in B is 20 less than the number in C. The number in D is 15 less than the number in B. And I'm going to warn you now, we might not do them in order. We might do them in order, but we might not. So the number in A is half the number in B. So we're going to look at this box to start with. So this number in A is half of what should be in D. So it's not saying that D is half of A, it's saying that A is half of what's in here. So in order to find D, we need to use the inverse. The inverse of half is double. So to get to what D is, we need to double what's in A. So double 100 is 200. And let's have a look at that. The number in A is half the number in D. So the number in A is half of D now, isn't it? Half of 200 is 100. So we've done that one. The number in B is 20 less than the number in C. So this one is 20 less than this one. But hang on, I can't do that yet, can I? I don't know about C yet. So we need to leave that one, skip to the next one. The number in D is 15 less than the number in B. So D is 15 less than B. So B is actually bigger than D, right? Because D is less than B, 15 less. So we're going to have to add 15 on to get to 215. Oh, the phone is ringing. Sorry, guys. So the number in, so now we've got to find C. So we've done this one, and we get back to this one here. The number in B is 20 less than the number in C. So B is 20 less than C. So C's got to be more. So C has got to be 20 more than B. So I add 20 to that and I get 235. Did you notice that I read those really slowly and really carefully? Because it's not actually that obvious, because it says this one's less than this one, but then you have to do more because you're doing the inverse. So let's have a look at this one. So I'm just going to rub out these ticks because we're moving on to the next one now. And I'm going to use a green pen, like my green background. The number in A is half the number in D, but I can't do anything with that yet because I don't know A or D. The number in B is 20 less than the number in C. Oh yes, I can do that because I've got the number in C and the number in B is 20 less than it. Oh, well, I know 20 less than 70 is 50. So that one was actually really easy because I was just doing 20 less. Brilliant. The number in D is 15 less than the number in B. Oh, I can do that as well because I've got B. So D is 15 less than B. Oh, well, again, that was quite an easy one. I just need to take away 15 and I get 35. So I did that one, then I did this one. Now I've got to go back to the first one. The number in A is half the number in D. So I need to find half of 35, which is 17.5. Now, I know that, but if you weren't sure how to halve a number, remember that halving is the same as dividing by 2. So you can do how many 2's are there in 3? 1, remainder 1. How many 2's in 15? 7, remainder 1. And remember, up above, down below, add the 0. And we add our remainder 1 here. How many 2's are there in 10? 5. So half of 35 is 17.5. Now, when we did this box, we weren't actually really using the inverse. We were actually just following the rules. So you have to be careful when you're having a go at this. You have to be careful to see whether you need to follow the rules on the inverse or whether you can just follow them. So you've got to read it really carefully and probably read it quite a lot of time. Okay, so our next type of question that we are going to be doing are ones that look like what's on the screen at the moment. So again, they can sound, they basically sound a little bit confusing. So I'm going to explain to you, I'm just going to write a number in here. I'm going to explain to you how we might, sorry guys, explain to you how we need to look at these type of questions. And the reason they can be a bit confusing is that they sound a little bit like they're backwards. Again, it's all just to do with using the inverse. So really thinking which bit is more, which bit is smaller, which bit is greater, all that sort of thing. So The first one, it's done for you. 180 is 20 more than 160. So this number here is 20 more than this number here, okay? If we didn't have that number, if that wasn't there, and we had to find it, it would be this number here is 20 more than this number here. So whatever's here has got to be 20 more than this number. 20 more than 160 is 180. So let's look at this next one where we don't have this number. This number here is 50 less than this number here. So this number is less than this number, 50 less in fact. So 50 less than 75 is 25. Okay, we're taking away 5 tens from the tens column, aren't we? So that again, we had to use we didn't actually have to use the inverse there, but we had to take away 50 from 75, and it just looks a little bit backwards, doesn't it? So this number here is a quarter of 200. So what number is a quarter of 200? Well, to find a quarter of something, we divide it by 4, don't we? We split it into 4 parts. 200 divided by 4 is 50. If you didn't know that, you could use this, or you could think, well, what's 20 divided by 4? I know is 5, so 200 divided by 4 is 50. So I'm going to stop there. You've got 2 questions like the first set, like these ones that we answered. And then there's a set of questions that I haven't showed you, but I want you to try and use your understanding of what we've done over the last few days and try and work out the questions for yourself. It's just the same kind of thing, but written in a different way. And then you've got some questions like these ones that are on the screen right now. Okay, so enjoy those, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye for now.